Hello, everyone. My name is Benjamin Sklar. I'm the founder and CEO of Forage. I'm a good friend of Reese. We grew up together in Houston. We went to high school at Episcopal together. He was a stud running back, and I was a linebacker. And and I went to Amherst College. I served in the Israeli military, and now I'm based in New York. I'm in the Hamptons actually right now, enjoying the sunny summer. I got a beer right here. I got a nice Corona.
Cheers, man.
Cheers.
Well, thanks for taking the time, though, for real.
Yeah. So tell me, what's the story behind this podcast?
Well, that's really it. I mean, I missed the interaction of meeting with people, having a cocktail, getting to talk to them about their business. Cheers.
Cheers, brother.
Yeah. And so that's like what I want this to be, is just like a kind of a hangout, a catch up, talk about your business, maybe like the path to get there, just kind of see where it goes. Let's start chronologically. Maybe after Amherst, you joined the Israeli army. Did they choose you, or did you want to go do that? What did that look like? What was the process there?
I wanted to do that. I got out of college, I didn't want to go work in a traditional sense at a bank. Like I worked at Goldman the summer before, Citi the summer before that, and I just was, I guess at that young age, I was 22. I was like thinking in a different mindset. I wanted to travel the world. I wanted to get out there, and I lived in Israel for a summer in college, and I really respected the soldiers there. I admired them. I saw them as like these superheroes, and I figured I'd rather go do that than the traditional path of working in finance, like most of my friends and my older brother, and like the path. And so I was like, I'm gonna go jump off the cliff and go do something crazy and serve in the military in Israel, for Israel.
Yeah. Well, how did you, like, that wouldn't even been on my radar, obviously.
Yeah. Well, I'm Jewish. I grew up Jewish. My dad's Jewish, so Israel's on the map in regards to like growing up. When you're Jewish, Israel's the Jewish state. It's an important aspect of Jewish life, and it's something that, for me, living there for the summer was something that I really wanted to have be a part of my identity and my story.
Mm-hmm. And so then you apply. How many people? Is it a large army, or like?
Yeah, I mean, it's like there's like, including the reserves, 500,000 people in the military.
Oh God!
I was in the paratroopers. So if you think of it, like I had like a team of 8. We're part of a bigger group. I don't even know the words in English, like platoon, squad. But
I don't either.
So I did 2 years, served on the Lebanon border, Syrian border, Gaza border, and served in the West Bank. Did my time, witnessed things, saw things, participated in things that a soldier in the Israeli military deals with.
Yeah. Did you enjoy it? Like, in hindsight, would you go do it again? If you had the choice to do it only one time, but again, I mean, like, obviously,
yeah, I would do it again. It's a great question. No one's ever asked me it like that. I would do it again. As much as it's a suck, there's a grind in it. It's not fun in some way, but I would do it again because of the lessons learned and the friendship, man. Just I look back and I'm like, holy shit, I can't believe I was serving in the Middle East in the Israeli army, speaking in Hebrew. A guy from Texas who I just like really implanted myself in another world. Yeah,
which is, I mean, really cool.
It was cool.
And it led to your next next jump into, normal career, if you want to call it that, although it really wasn't, because it was attached.
It definitely was a normal career in the sense so when I got out of the army, I got accepted to go work, get a master's in Israel at Tel Aviv University, which is a great school, and I got a job working for like a congressman named Michael Oren. He's a minister in Israel. So I had I had a great setup in regards to like the government path.
Yeah.
But I had a startup idea that I got accepted to like Y Combinator of Australia. So
what is that again?
Y Combinator is the leading startup incubator in Silicon Valley. Like if you have a startup idea, they'll give you $150K for 8% of the company, and they'll mentor you. And great companies have gone through it, like Airbnb and Stripe and all like the unicorns out there.
Yeah. What was the idea?
So the idea was, in the military, we don't film any of our training drills. And in football, as you know, you film practice and games and watch the footage and learn from your mistakes to get better. But in the military, we didn't film anything. So imagine they're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars per drill. Like think about the helicopters and the tanks and the ammunition and the food and the operations, like huge, serious operation just for a training drill, like playing war essentially.
Right.
And there's no footage. And then you go back to base and you go to sleep and wake up the next day and just continue on your life. And I'm like, oh my God, imagine if we filmed this with drones and watched the footage like athletes in sports and approached war like a sport. It would be such a better ROI, a better return on the investment of the military. And I made a PowerPoint and pitched it to my general, and he was like, this is over my head, go pitch it to my boss. And I went up the chain of command and like went to like the Pentagon of Israel and was in there like pitching it in broken Hebrew to these like old bosses, generals sitting around a table like, hey, this is my startup idea. And they were like good idea, like sure, like go make it happen for us, like go figure it out. And so I got the head of the Israeli secret drone program in the Air Force to be like, let's do this.
Nice.
And so it led to a company called Trumbull Unmanned based in Houston, which is the go-to drone company for all the oil companies like Exxon and Chevron that do their like their what do they call oil rigs.
Yeah, just like maintenance, field service, just whatever you need to do with the helicopter, you can do with the drone, kind of a business.
Exactly. But the founders of the company based in Houston are all former military F-16 fighter pilots, and you know the right people for starting a military startup.
So you had the idea and went to them to help get it actually going.
Yeah. And then it led to me they were going to send me to Australia to develop it because I got accepted to this startup incubator. And then I ended up coming back to Houston because that's where they're based. And I grew up and they're actually from the neighborhood. And I realized that moving to New York was a better idea than moving to Australia. So I moved to New York. And kind of didn't want to give up on my idea, but it was kind of like it sounded cool on paper. It's cool to talk about over a beer at a bar, but like the day-to-day life of moving to Australia with with zero mechanical engineering experience and starting a drone company, it was kind of unrealistic.
Yeah, overwhelming too, I'm sure. And like, what's your network look like? Probably zero.
Yeah, and it was moving to Brisbane, not Sydney. So Brisbane is like not the main city of Australia. So I moved to New York, got a job where they offered me $1,500 a month for 3 months to work for this bootstrapped Israeli nonprofit that helped soldiers who were volunteers like me. So I was like, and they were like, we'll like help us try and raise money. We'll take care of you for 3 months and us in a way, and try and help us raise money for our nonprofit. And while you like figure out your drone startup or get a job at a bank or figure it out. And it led to me raising over $250,000 in a few weeks, living in the city, leveraging my background as a soldier, meeting with Jewish donors, business people who said, I like your story. I actually believe that I believe you. I like you. I'm going to donate to you.
Well, you were there.
Yeah.
You've done it.
Yeah.
Also.
And the nonprofit does, I was a great benefactor of the nonprofit. The nonprofit helps people from around the world who want to move to Israel and serve in the military. So as volunteers, no family there. So they gave me the housing, food, transportation. And they were like essentially my home away from home.
Got it.
So I raised the money, and then and they were like, "Holy shit, we did not expect you to raise real money for us. We'll offer you a job." So they offered me a full-time job with a real salary, and said, "Hey, go continue doing this." Mm-hmm. And I said, "Okay, great." And I spent 2 years running around New York City, going to networking events, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, meeting incredible people, mainly in the Jewish community, mainly in real estate. And it turned into a consulting business where a handful of real estate companies that are essentially syndicators raising money from investors to buy properties said, "Hey, Benji, you're meeting the people we want to meet. We'll pay you as a consultant to go bring in investors for us." Essentially like a freelance salesman, freelance connector.
And that's what Forage is, right?
Well, we'll get there. So yeah, so when I started law school, I didn't have time to go to networking events. And so I wanted to hire independent contractors to go on my behalf to try and grow my business. And when there was no platform specifically for that use case, that's where Forage came from.
Got it. So you're using essentially a real estate company comes to you, or maybe you go to them and pitch it, but real estate company wants to raise money because they want to buy a commercial building or a multifamily apartment, whatever. And they're like, we want to raise some money, but we need to, we don't have time to go to these events. You do some of them yourself but you have consultants that work for Forage and go to real estate events to drum up business, essentially.
Essentially, yeah. And then it turned into, I created an online platform, a website, similar to Upwork or Fiverr, Airbnb, essentially an online marketplace where companies can hire freelancers to attend events on their behalf to generate leads.
Yeah.
And then COVID hit, and then all in-person networking events stopped. And I pivoted to online events, which essentially are Zoom calls, and learned quickly that networking on Zoom calls is not efficient. It's because you have someone speaking on the Zoom call, and you have access. Let's say there's like 30 people on Zoom call. You represent a little box on the screen. You have the chat feature. There's no way, if I didn't know you, Reese, I would be like, "Hey, Reese, great to see you. Like, great to meet you over the Zoom call." It's like there's no way to build relationships online. And so I had to pivot again. So I was like, this is all in the last 2 weeks. So I figured if I could implement the chat roulette technology where it's one-on-one speed networking, like this Zoom call, into Forage, that would be really smart. I think it'd be a great idea. And so in the last, week or so, we took it to the next level where now we're making Forage is now, it's less about generating leads and networking, and now more about less about generating leads and more just about networking and meeting people online. Where imagine there's going to be like we're going to call it a space where think chat roulette, where there's like a 24/7 virtual world where you can just hop in and meet someone. And obviously chat roulette has a bad reputation for being like naked dudes online. But we're going to be like, invite only, access only, professionals only, and it's like with people that you want to meet. Like it could be like only people who work in finance in the oil and gas industry located in Houston. And like, you're going to only meet those people. And so it's going to, and like they can say, I want to meet insurance providers who focus on our industry, and they'll just flip through people in your industry. And so it's like very efficient networking while everyone's sitting at home.
Which is really smart. And like you said, it's difficult to do this, especially, I can't even believe that people were trying to do events in the manner you're describing, which is like 30 people all on one screen. How do you even, there's no way you could even try to talk to somebody because you'd be talking over 29 other people.
Yeah. Well, they weren't networking events. They were, let's call them like I'm a moderator. I ask you to speak and everyone just listens to you talk.
Got it. Yeah.
No one really likes that. No one, unless it's like Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos. Like, no one wants to listen to CEO of X company talk for 45 minutes about their story. It's like people want to talk about themselves. People want to be engaged. People want to get asked questions or ask questions. So there's new companies that have come out in the last few months. One's called Hopin, Hopin. Another one's called Run the World, spelled Run the World. And they're blowing up because they're designed for online networking. Like, it's taking Zoom calls to the next level.
Yeah, which is smart. And I mean, I had a feeling too, like at the beginning of the lockdown, if that's what you want to call it, depending on how long it goes on for, someone's bound to create something that changes the way we do things. That's a very generic way of saying stuff. But, you know, in the business world, like, things are going to change because of what we're now forced to do, which is wake up, drink your coffee. You don't have to shower. You don't have to drive in your car. You just get on your computer and start working. You don't have to leave your bed even. Just start doing emails immediately whenever you wake up.
Right.
Which is great, but also it can burn you out too if you're not thinking about the longevity of your day. Things just kind of roll together. Then you eat lunch, you cook, you clean, you go for a jog, you come back, you run. There's flexibility, which is awesome, but there's also probably oversight on, you know, managing your time efficiently, especially if you're not like someone like yourself or me who already kind of had a flexible schedule and worked as much as I could, but also had the freedom to, you know, go for a jog or go grab a coffee with someone downtown.
Yeah. I like the whole, putting on my law school hat, because I'm a full-time law student too. I like the work from home world more than going in person, because I feel like the education system was like too outdated. Like, listening to some guy talk for 2 hours was compared to like watching YouTube videos while I'm at home, comfortable on the couch. I'd rather be at home watching Elon Musk talk about innovation, entrepreneurship, than like Joe Schmo, professor, who I respect. And I'm sure a lot of people who are older and traditional would disagree with my point of view, but they're not the ones sitting in the classroom every day. So
yeah, and there's a give and take too. And I feel what you're saying as well. Like, especially I went to a public university, LSU. You go sit in a classroom with 300 something, you know, people, and your professor's running through whatever they want to talk about the subject. But when it ultimately boils down to it, you're taking the test in the testing center. It's being pulled from a common group of questions. So into the class leading up to your test, it's like, but read the book, because that's where the questions are going to come from. So really you're sitting in class to like listen to them talk about whatever they want to on the subject, which makes the most sense and you probably learn the most. But to pass the class, you have to read textbook and regurgitate it verbatim on a test, which I was not the best at.
Right. And then you forget everything on the test 2 months later because it's not applicable to the real world.
2 hours later.
Yeah. Yeah. No. So I feel like COVID just really accelerated this world to arguably the better.
There's a good blend, I think. Like, because I really miss in person, like just interacting with people in the office. Like, I love going into the office. There's some kind of synergy that happens that even if I go in with nothing, like no actionable items due that day, just being around people who are all doing the same thing, working on similar projects, just triggers, you know, the creative flow, if you will.
Totally. And like, there's nothing worse than walking down the street and everyone wearing a mask, and you just feel like, what does this world come to?
Secluded.
Yeah, it's bad. Something.
Do you think you'll still try to keep the original idea behind Forage alive whenever events come back around? I mean, like in an addition or parallel?
It's a great question. I had a team meeting today and we talked about that, how we're actually going to completely pivot away from generating leads and go to this more networking aspect. But we're going to keep the code, keep it so that one day when in-person events do come back, we can go back and try and, pursue that idea.
Yeah.
But,
had you had success doing it? I mean, was it received well? I mean, were you growing?
yeah, we were growing. I was actually doing really well in regards, like relatively speaking. We had over 350 foragers, we call them, like independent contractors sign up. We had over 70 companies sign up. We generated 13K in revenue in a few months. We had a company hire a forager once a week, 7 weeks in a row. It was mainly like real estate focused, specifically
in New York too.
Mainly not really in New York. Like our best user was a company called Vizio Lending based in Austin. They're a real estate lender. And if you think about it, their target market is real estate investors who are looking for residential properties to build their portfolio. And they're old school people who attend networking events. They're local Rio groups, they're local meetups in town. And it's hard to target them to get them to choose your like loan products from an Instagram or a Facebook ad. You got to meet them face to face. They're handshake kind of people. And so having someone fly to the event to spend 3 hours shaking hands and collecting business cards and doing the charisma spiel is expensive when you think about all the cities around the country and all. So why not hire someone local, pay them per hour to go on your behalf, and who knows the real estate lingo, and especially someone who was already going anyway, and now they can monetize their time and access at the event. So it was essentially the leveraging the concept behind the gig economy.
Yeah. Were you, when you're finding a new client, were you talking to them first and then identifying a contractor or a forager, if you will? Or was it kind of vice versa where you're like, hey, you're really good at real estate and you live in Austin, or you have experience in the real estate industry, you live in Austin, maybe we should look for some companies that would, be good to talk to and that might need our service? What was the order of operations?
Because we didn't hit such a large scale of people, we didn't have thousands, let alone millions of users. It was really me managing everything at our early stage. For example, I have a web development company based in India who says, hey, we love to have more customers in the United States. We'd love to hire someone to go to a networking event in New York on our behalf, compared to us flying to the United States for that event.
Right.
So, I have a handful of people saying, hey, I'd love to make more money at night going to events. And I would pair them up. And, well, I want to say at the beginning, they would do it. They would find each other on our platform. They could see each other's profiles. But companies were complaining and saying, I don't have the time to go find the events that you have listed on our platform and go through the foragers profiles. Can you do it for me? And that's why we launched a subscription service where you will pay us the amount of money that you want to spend on independent contractors, and we'll choose them for you. Like we'll be your account managers in-house. But this whole concept, which was awesome and fun and exciting, was wiped out with the coronavirus. And so there's
no events to attend at all.
No events.
But they're just like you said, they're not put together well. They're all on Zoom, and I guess to your point of what you're trying to do too, they're invite only. So you can't just, for the most part, find them online, log into them, and then meet people that are qualified leads or people you want to be talking to even.
Right now, what we're focused on is creating the chat roulette for business. I hate using the chat roulette because it has this bad little stigma to it, but
it makes sense.
Same concept of you sign up, you're scrolling on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook. Eventually, you're bored and you open Forage, which is an app or a browser on your computer, and it's essentially you're just networking, flipping through people online, but you know that they're legit, that you know there are other people who are looking to grow their network, who are professionals and interested in business.
Yeah. Is the idea to have like a time frame that you'd work in and you click out when you want to, or is it like you identify there's 30 people in there and you're as Forage in charge of rotating them around in like little blocks of time?
Yeah, great question. So the two other companies I know that have this chat roulette for business out there, one's called Hopin and one's called Run the World. They have 5 minute, and they both, Hopin just raised 44 million. Run the World just raised 17
what?
million. Yeah, they're like startups.
Get out of here.
Whatever they have on their pitch deck, investors, the best investors in the world, like Founders Fund and Andreessen Horowitz, like the VCs in San Francisco who invested in Airbnb and Facebook and big dogs. And
well, it's a need that needs to be filled right now.
Right. And so I'm on both those platforms every day, figuring out what their best features are and learning about them. And they have a 5 minute timeline on their chat roulette. And sometimes like you know within 30 seconds if you want to talk to the person or not. And so after 30 seconds, you're either stuck with them for another 4 minutes and 30 seconds, which is a long time.
Yes.
Or you can on Hopin you can just click next. But on ours, I'm not gonna set a time limit. You can just meet someone. Let's say we just connect. If we don't like each other, you can just like leave. You can say like, see ya, great talking to you, and peace. But if we do like each other, we can both click connect on the screen, and it shares our contact info, and it adds you to like, I'm added to your like Rolodex, and you're added to mine, where we can follow up with each other and stay in the loop on each other's lives. So virtual networking, and there's a million ideas that can come from it, like the lead generation aspect of it. Like imagine I worked for your company as an independent contractor, consultant in sales. You want me to introduce you to guys and women who are running companies who are looking for insurance. Mm-hmm. And sure, Benji, if you introduce me to someone like that, why not? Great. And let's say there's this virtual chat roulette world for people who are in that space, and you don't want to spend all day on the computer. You'll pay me to do it for you. So
got it.
I can see if events don't come back and everyone's stuck at home for their next 36 months, I can see it actually being really efficient.
Yeah. You know, something to look into, all just as like a trial run even. I know Zoom, because I've been in some of these, has a feature where it's not chat roulette, but you, as the example, Forage could be in charge of the room. Everyone comes into it all at the same time. Hey, how are you? You kick it off. And then you're actually, and unfortunately it's pretty cumbersome, but you could like test the waters and probably charge people to do it too. Cause I've seen some that people are trying to pay for. They're really specific, not really networking, but they're for different reasons. Yeah. And then you move everyone into a one-on-one room like this. You set a time limit. It could be 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 5 minutes, 30 minutes are the ones that I've been involved in.
Right. I've seen those, they're called breakout rooms. And they're great. But I want it to be more.
It's not a platform though.
Mm-hmm. Well, obviously Zoom's killing it. And so.
Yeah. Well, you know, you could just like expedite you could probably make some money by kickstarting it and getting people like involved and telling them about what you're doing, what's coming, what the goal is, and then use Zoom kind of in the interim to, you know.
I agree. I'm hosting an event this Friday I'm inviting 50 people I know in real estate. You're invited, even though you're not.
I'm not in real estate.
To join this on the startup called Run the World that Will Smith and Kevin Hart just invested in, which is like another chat roulette for business.
Yeah, so, but you're in charge of that room.
I'm organizing it. Yeah, it's my event.
Cool. Can you charge money on that, or can you make money?
I'm doing it for free, but like, let's say everyone said that was awesome, I'll do it again. I'd probably do it again for free, but if they like it, I can see myself charging $5, $10, $50, $100 to
for your legwork, basically.
Yeah. I can see it being like a A definite side hustle.
Cool. Well, it sounds like the pandemic has moved you into a totally different direction, but a similar direction and a exciting direction also.
Yeah, definitely exciting. It's definitely a pivot, but there was no other way forward. I couldn't just like put my head down and grind forward when it just didn't make sense.
Yeah, there's no events at all going on, so you have to do something.
Yeah.
And you have the platform, the LLC, and the real estate contacts to do something. So.
Yeah. Someone needs to come up with a good. I know there's masks where it's like the shield, but some incredible device where like you can like put something in your nose or swallow something and it covers your mouth. Something where like we can remove masks because masks suck.
Or like maybe some glasses where you push a button and it's like a shield down, and then you can roll it up or something. Yeah,
I like that idea.
Well, dude, I don't want to take too much of your time. I appreciate your time also. I have some closing questions for you, sort of like like speed round questions. If you had to choose between and you could only choose one of these experiences, playing football or the Israeli army experience, which one would you choose?
Israeli army experience.
That's a good answer. If you had to choose between beer or liquor for the rest of your life, what would you choose?
Liquor.
God, that's a good answer too.
I feel like if I said the other one, you would have said that's a good answer.
Well, why? Oh, why do you choose? Why liquor?
Because beer makes me feel like after a while, it just makes me feel fat and bloated, and I feel like with liquor, I can just, especially if it's cold, I can just drink it all night.
Yeah, or all day, or for the rest of your life. Yeah. What is the most challenging aspect of running a company?
Great question.
Takes time.
I would say because my company is new, it's never been done before. I'm not in insurance or real estate brokerage or something that has a proven model that I can replicate. It's not only convincing others, my teammates and investors, that it's something to believe in, but also convincing myself when times are tough to believe in the vision when in the day-to-day there is no evidence from the customers that there's demand for the product or service.
Right. Yeah. Because it's new. So everything is new, convincing yourself, convincing other people, and then actually having it work as well.
Right.
I see that being really challenging.
And I listened to Y Combinator, who we talked about. Their YouTube video has all the founders of Uber and Airbnb talk about their story at the beginning, and which gives me a lot of help because at their beginnings, they also struggled with the same issues of like people saying it was a stupid idea, there was no proof in the pudding, but through through hard work and staying committed and persistent, and over time, they were able to build these incredible companies. So that's what I'm trying to do.
What is the most rewarding part of owning, operating, running, trying to start a company?
That I am my own boss, and it's not that like being the visionary, being my own boss is exciting because everything depends on me. If the company fails, it's on me. If the company succeeds, it's on me. I know that my characteristic and personality is I'm the visionary. I'm not the operator. I really need a COO, someone who loves the details. I need that for my business. And when a customer does come along and you are generating revenue and you have people who say, I love this product, I want to use it, like what we were experiencing pre-COVID, it was like, wow, like I'm building something that could have billions of users. This could change the world. It really is creating a market with supply and demand that could revolutionize the way people operate and earn income.
Right.
So like I'm like hoping to do something similar along those lines. Like so to answer your question, it's like, and like I love being like just like building a product, like hopping on the phone every day with guys in India working on the back end, working with my guys in California who are designing the product, the front end, and like building this product. It's fun. It's like I feel like I'm operating in the future.
Yeah, that's really cool. And you're creative. You like the creative side. It makes sense.
Yeah, it's fun. It's like, but it's also hard. I'm sure a lot of people right now out there in the world who are experiencing their businesses being punched in the face by COVID are also, and like, I don't want to say we were punched in the face by COVID because like on paper, when I present myself to investors and customers, you want to sound like COVID was a great thing for your business. Like, oh, it actually was a good, positive, opened new doors and accelerated our innovation, all these, buzzwords that people tell you to say. But that's not true. At the end of the day, COVID sucks. Like, look what's happening. Read the news. Like, and so you just gotta like admit, like swallow the truth, recognize like the true reality, and not lie to yourself. And only through like admitting what's actually happening can I actually become successful and like make things happen for myself.
Yeah. Well, to your point, the current situation is horrible. It totally derailed what you had going on. All right, let's not dwell on it. Pivot, try to think of a new product or direction to go in the interim, not totally trash that, but there's no way I can even do that right now.
Right. Exactly.
So like, why dwell on it also? Yeah. What do you miss most about pre-COVID life?
That is a great question.
I know.
What I miss about pre-COVID life, I miss walking down the street. I live right now in West Hampton Beach, which is like out of a movie, like an American dream town where there's like a one road main street with little shops on the side, and everything is like super suburban life, and just like walking around. And to answer your question, I miss shaking hands with people. I miss being able to. That was like what I think I'm best at, and that's my best skill set. Networking, walking into a room and literally meeting all 25 people in the room, and like having these quick relationships, and it was so fun. It was like what I was good at. It's what I'm good at, and so to like remove that from me is tough. I have to like figure out what my new skill set's going to be. Right now, I'm like trying to enable that online, which could be awesome. It could fail, and I'll be fine. I'll learn from that experience, learn from that failure, and move on to the next one. So I'm not worried about it as long as I stay optimistic and have self-love and self-esteem. I won't let anything bring me down.
Oh, you're gonna be great. You're great at the in-person. You'll figure out the virtual world as well. I'm sure of it.
Thanks, Reese.
All right, dude. Well, tell everyone hello for me.
Will do, brother. Great to see you, Reese. Peace.